We are currently operating on an economic operating system infected by a fatal systemic bug. The defining feature of this broken system is the linear accumulation of wealth at the absolute apex, while the physical survival costs of the labor force that generates that wealth are systematically externalized.
A bug that you claim.
Today, we are examining a widely discussed proposal from Jeff Bezos himself. He proposed eliminating federal income taxes entirely for the bottom 50% of earners in the United States. Now, I am arguing from the absolute framework of circular capitalism, which dictates that resources must return to the infrastructure generating them. Manipulating the tax code at the bottom is a highly advanced defense mechanism.
But
It is a calculated, strategic diversion designed to protect a fatally flawed system of linear capital accumulation from the physical reality it is currently destroying.
Your theoretical framework completely ignores the bleeding reality on the ground right now. Relieving the tax burden from struggling workers is not a strategic diversion. It is an emergency tourniquet. We are living in a brutally K-shaped economy. That means the economic trajectory has literally split into two diverging paths.
Diverging because the system is...
Because the top leg of the K is rocketing upwards as asset values explode, while the bottom leg, the wage earners, well, they are plunging downward. Their purchasing power is just erased by inflation. The proposal to remove that federal tax burden is pure, pragmatic empathy. It puts thousands of dollars immediately back into the hands of a working class that is actively drowning.
Pragmatic empathy is a statistical illusion.
You are entirely focused on redesigning a macroeconomic operating system while the people operating within it literally cannot afford to heat their homes.
I focus on the system because the data completely dismantles your narrative of relief. Let us look at the mechanics, shall we? The bottom 50% of earners in the United States currently pay exactly 2.9% of total federal income taxes. Their average effective tax rate is 3.4%. Erasing a 3.4% liability does not solve a systemic crisis of resource deprivation. It merely adjusts a ledger.
That ledger adjustment means...
Contrast that mathematical reality with the apex of the system. We are looking at a true tax rate for the ultra-wealthy that functionally approaches zero. Over a 4-year period, Jeff Bezos increased his wealth by $99 billion, yet paid a true tax rate of 0.98% through a mechanism known as buy, borrow, die.
The macroeconomic average of 3.4% deliberately dilutes the individual reality. $12,000 taken from a critical care nurse in Queens making $75,000 is not a statistical illusion to the person who can no longer afford to feed their family. It is a devastating physical extraction of their survival resources.
The nurse is carrying the burden.
You are completely dismissing their pain to focus on a percentage that only looks small from a macroeconomic ivory tower. And when you target the top echelon, you are deliberately obscuring the fact that the top 1% already shoulders 40.1% of the federal income tax burden. That is a massively disproportionate load carried by the primary drivers of economic innovation.
They shoulder 40.1% of the income tax burden because the system categorizes wages as taxable events, while shielding the actual engine of modern wealth, which is unrealized capital gains. The buy, borrow, die strategy is exactly how this is bypassed. You buy an appreciating asset, like corporate equity. As it grows by tens of billions of dollars, you do not sell it, which means you have no realized income to tax.
That is not income until...
To fund your lifestyle, you borrow cash from financial institutions at extremely low interest rates using your untaxed stock as collateral. Loan proceeds are not taxable income. When you die, your assets pass to your heirs with a stepped-up basis, completely erasing the capital gains tax liability forever. This is not innovation. It is an engineered vacuum.
That is a legal tax.
The corporation Amazon is projected to pay an effective tax rate of 1.4% against a statutory rate of 21%. They utilize $17.5 billion in tax deductions, heavily leveraging research credits and aggressive depreciation. Meanwhile, their own logistics drivers average $19 an hour, with 26% facing severe food insecurity.
You are heavily implying that the solution is to forcibly extract capital from the top through wealth taxes, literally taxing unrealized gains, We have decades of empirical data proving that is an administrative nightmare. You cannot easily tax an asset that has not been sold. How do you definitively value a private company that has not gone public?
The valuation is not the
How do you assess the exact daily value of a vast, illiquid real estate portfolio? The valuation disputes alone paralyze the revenue agencies. When European nations like France attempted robust wealth taxes through the ISF, the immediate physical result was capital flight. Wealth left the physical borders, entrepreneurial incentive was destroyed, and the revenues collected were a fraction of the projections. Forcing a massive bureaucracy to appraise phantom wealth incinerates the very capital you are trying to redistribute.
You are attempting to defend a system that mathematically forces the state to subsidize the basic biological survival of a multinational corporation's workforce. Government tax cuts at the bottom are nothing more than corporate abdication of responsibility.
It puts food on the
Amazon is sitting on colossal capital reserves, yet refuses to allocate that capital to pay a wage that covers the physical requirements of life for the people delivering its packages. Instead, the corporation demands that the state treasury step in and cover the survival costs of its labor force through tax exemptions, food stamps, and housing subsidies.
But the state treasury.
Imagine a homeowner who generates massive amounts of industrial garbage. They dump it directly into the public street. Then, they step up to a podium to brightly propose that the city make garbage collection free for all citizens. The homeowner refuses to pay for their own waste disposal, offloading the physical costs of their existence onto the public infrastructure, while expecting applause for proposing a municipal policy that merely obscures their own negligence.
Keeping capital in the private sector is vastly more efficient than feeding a bureaucratic government machine that incinerates money through administrative waste. Government tax cuts are the fastest, most efficient delivery mechanism to put food on the table for those Amazon workers in the bottom 50%. A broad tax cut injects liquidity directly into the real economy.
Liquidity that is immediately.
When you try to force corporations to redistribute wealth through mandatory artificial wage hikes or punitive taxes, they simply automate the jobs out of existence. They replace the driver with a drone and the warehouse worker with a robotic sorting arm. Letting workers keep what they earn is the cleanest way to bypass the friction of government redistribution.
The logic of your efficiency collapses the moment it encounters physical reality. If the ultra-wealthy are utilizing collateralized loans and depreciation loopholes to achieve a 1% true tax rate, and the bottom 50% are zeroed out of the tax base entirely as Bezos proposes, the physical infrastructure of the nation is starved of the capital required to exist.
The private sector can.
Who maintains the physical roads that logistics empires require to deliver their packages? Who funds the electrical grid that powers the automated sorting arms you just mentioned? The infrastructure requires constant, massive resource injection. Think of the national economy like a highly engineered, automated air conditioning system in a massive skyscraper.
Metaphors do not pay.
The billionaire on the top floor is running the building's central AC at maximum capacity to keep his penthouse freezing, draining every watt of available power. Down on the first floor, the electrical panel begins to catch fire from the overload. Instead of redistributing the power, the system merely executes a command to mute the first floor warning alarm. That is what a tax cut for the poor is in this scenario. It mutes the alarm. It solves nothing regarding the structural overload. The building will inevitably go dark.
You are deliberately ignoring the intent behind the proposal to maintain a stance of structural cynicism. Bezos is utilizing his immense platform to highlight the exact plight of the working class you are describing. Politicians spend decades arguing over theoretical tax code overhauls that never materialize, while the physical reality is that inflation is a regressive tax that hits the bottom 50% the hardest.
Inflation is a feature of an
Inflation destroys the purchasing power of a fixed wage. The working class do not hold appreciating equity or real estate to hedge against currency devaluation. Their dollars just buy less food every single month. Offering them federal tax immunity is a structural shield against that inflation. It gives them the breathing room to actually participate in the economy rather than merely surviving it.
Inflation is not a weather event. It is a byproduct of the same broken operating system. Offering the illusion of participation does not alter the fundamental deprivation of resources. It is meaningless to offer free admission to the bottom 50% when one entity at the party is hoarding 90% of the actual nourishment.
It is not hoarding if
The physical capital required for survival is entirely locked at the top of the distribution chain. Eliminating the tax burden at the bottom without unlocking the hoarded wealth at the top is the behavior of a failing operating system. It is exactly like a smartphone playing 100 high-resolution videos simultaneously in the background. The processor is overheating, the physical components are degrading.
but the user needs.
When the battery begs for mercy, the software merely deletes the battery percentage display from the screen. The user no longer sees the crisis, but the device is guaranteed to become a dead block of metal. This public relations camouflage ensures the system continues to overheat until complete mechanical failure.
You keep using terms like circular capitalism to describe a total redesign of the macroeconomic landscape, but you are offering zero immediate solutions. Without immediate tax relief, the working class will drown right now. They cannot wait for a grand theoretical overhaul of capital distribution that requires untangling international tax law and corporate lobbying.
The overhaul is the only.
A Queens nurse facing eviction next month does not care about your smartphone metaphors or your structural critiques of unrealized capital gains. They need the $12,000 back in their bank account today. You are prioritizing a rigid structural ideology over the immediate, visceral suffering of real human beings. We have to implement the relief measures that are politically and mathematically possible in the present moment. Your absolute redesign of the global economy will take generations, and the bottom 50% will not survive the wait.
The linear system of capital accumulation is fundamentally broken. Manipulating surface-level tax numbers while aggressively hoarding the actual source of wealth is a calculated deception that systematically drains the cognitive capacity of the masses, preventing them from recognizing the physical reality of their exploitation. The existing system will inevitably collapse under its own weight as the labor infrastructure is starved to the point of mechanical failure. Shifting to circular capitalism, where wealth is directly and aggressively returned to the labor infrastructure through proper wages and unyielding asset taxes, is the only rational investment for survival.